For years, fans remembered Gale Storm as the cheerful star of My Little Margie and The Gale Storm Show. But behind her wholesome image was a life filled with unexpected struggles and dramatic turns. From a sudden rise to fame to personal battles that nearly ended her career. Her story was far more complex than the public ever knew. So what really happened to Gale Storm? The odds were stacked against her from the very beginning. Long before Hollywood knew her as Gale Storm, she was Josephine Owesa Cottle, born April 5, 1922, in the modest working-class town of Bloomington, Texas. Her unusual middle name, believed to be a Native American word for bluebird, gave her a distinctive charm that would help her stand out years later. But what happened to the young Gale when she was just 17 months old would change her world. Tragedy struck when her father passed away before she was 2 years old. Her mother, Minnie, took on the challenge of raising 5 children alone during the harsh years of the Great Depression, sewing clothes to keep the family afloat. Despite these struggles, Josephine found happiness in singing, acting in school plays, and shining at local talent shows. From a young age, she was sure that an entertainment career awaited her, fueled by a natural charm and determination. Things only got tougher for the family. Minnie even opened a small hat shop to support her sewing business, but it didn't work out. Finally, she moved the family to Houston, hoping for better chances. Houston in the 1930s was changing fast, growing beyond oil into a cultural city. Gale attended Holy Rosary School and participated in drama clubs during her junior and senior years. That's where her love for theater took root. At just 17, Josephine's teachers pushed her to enter a talent contest held by Gateway to Hollywood, a popular radio program offering a coveted prize, a screen test, and an acting contract in Hollywood. Her sweet voice and radiant smile won over the judges, earning her the top spot. As part of her reward, she was assigned a new screen name. The producers chose Gale Storm, a name meant to evoke energy, beauty, and a hint of drama. This was a typical Hollywood practice, transforming a real person into a figure for the public's imagination. Gale later admitted she had no say in this change. It was entirely the sponsor's decision. The contest also launched the career of Lee Bonnell, the male winner, who would become her professional partner and eventually her husband and father to their 4 children. But that story belonged to the future. For now, Gale Storm had stepped through the golden gates of Hollywood, ready to begin her journey. But what happened to her on the way to the top is what many would never have imagined. In the early 1940s, Gale began her film career not with the big studios like MGM or Paramount, but with Republic Pictures and Monogram Pictures. These smaller companies, known as Poverty Row Studios, specialized in quick, low-budget productions, westerns, crime dramas, and musicals aimed at younger audiences. While their resources were limited, they provided valuable opportunities for young actors like Gale to gain experience and screen presence. By 1940, RKO Radio Pictures was searching for fresh talent to appeal to wartime audiences. Gale Storm brought the perfect mix of sweetness, ambition, and quick comedic timing. After winning the Gateway to Hollywood contest, she landed a role on the popular radio drama Big Town, introducing her voice to millions of listeners who still relied on radio for entertainment. That same year, Gale transitioned to films with RKO. Over the next decade, she appeared in more than 35 movies, beginning with Tom Brown's School Days. Starring alongside Jimmy Lydon and Freddie Bartholomew, she proved her versatility, capable of singing, acting in comedy, and delivering charm with ease. Later in the early 1940s, a new form of entertainment called soundies emerged. These short musical films played on coin-operated jukeboxes. In 1941, Gale showcased her vocal talents in several soundies, hinting at the musical success that would follow. Alongside RKO, Gale also worked extensively with Monogram Pictures. Known for budget-friendly B-movies, Monogram became a home for her comedic and musical talents. She starred with popular groups like Frankie Darro's Crew and the East Side Kids, and appeared with iconic comedians such as the Three Stooges. In 1946, Gale headlined Swing Parade, a lively Monogram musical filled with humor and catchy songs. Her wholesome and cheerful screen presence made her a favorite among fans and a standout star for a studio that rarely had household names. By the mid-1940s, Gale had proven her ability to tackle a variety of roles. She appeared in the crime comedy Cosmo Jones' Crime Smasher and the romantic wartime comedy GI Honeymoon, both reflecting popular themes of the era. Her 1944 film, It Happened on Fifth Avenue, earned praise as a heartwarming Christmas comedy that touched on social class issues in post-war America. She also showed range in the Western Stampede and later embraced darker roles in the film noir, The Underworld Story and Between Midnight and Dawn in 1950. Though Gale enjoyed steady work, she never achieved the level of stardom of Hollywood's leading ladies. She did not possess the sultry glamour of Lana Turner, the intense dramatic power of Bette Davis, or the sophisticated grace of Katharine Hepburn. Instead, Gale's appeal lay in her accessibility. She was the familiar girl-next-door figure that audiences felt they could relate to. This relatable quality became crucial as television began rising in popularity in the late 1940s. While Hollywood initially underestimated the small screen, many viewers and producers saw television as a fresh platform, offering closer connections with audiences. Gale Storm's sunny disposition and solid acting experience made her a natural fit for this new medium. She started with guest appearances on variety shows, like the Pat Boone Chevy Showroom, where she showcased her singing and charm. Her first significant television opportunity came in the 1950s with Hollywood Premier Theater, marking the beginning of her successful transition from film to TV. In 1952, Gale Storm took on the role of Margie Albright in My Little Margie, a sitcom centered on a lively young woman living with her widowed father in New York. Initially created as a summer replacement for I Love Lucy, the show quickly found its audience, running for 4 successful seasons and establishing Gale as a familiar face in American homes. As Margie, Gale portrayed a witty and playful character whose charm and humor resonated deeply with viewers. Her chemistry with Charles Farrell, who played her father, earned praise from both critics and fans. The show's success transformed Gale Storm from a B-movie actress into one of television's early true stars. Her weekly appearances brought her warmth and approachability into living rooms nationwide, drawing audiences across generations and attracting strong sponsorships. Yet, Gale's fame extended beyond television. Music became an unexpected and defining part of her career. In November 1954, a young fan named Linda Wood recognized Gale's voice during a variety show appearance. Linda's father, Randy Wood, president of Dot Records, promptly signed Gale to a recording contract before the broadcast had even ended. Her music career quickly blossomed with the release of I Hear You Knocking, a cover of an R&B hit that sold over 1 million copies and climbed the charts. She followed this success with Memories Are Made of This, adding her heartfelt touch to the popular Dean Martin song. The B-side Teenage Prayer gave her a rare 2-hit single. Gale maintained momentum with her rendition of Why Do Fools Fall in Love and Dark Moon, a haunting ballad that soared to number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100. Between 1955 and 1957, she skillfully balanced her television work with singing tours and promotional events. Building on this dual success, Gale starred in The Gale Storm Show, Oh Susanna, beginning in 1956. The series followed Susanna Pomeroy, a cruise director aboard a luxury liner, delivering glamorous backdrops, vibrant guest stars, and lighthearted adventures at sea. Running until 1960, the show was a pioneering female-led sitcom highlighting a working woman's independence and leadership, laying the groundwork for future television heroines. Meanwhile, Gale's music career continued to thrive under Dot Records, with hits like I Hear You Knocking reaching number 2 on the Billboard charts, solidifying her place in the music world. By the end of the 1950s, Gale Storm was more than just an actress or singer. She had become a beloved and trusted cultural figure. Yet beneath the public success and bright lights, she faced personal struggles hidden from view. Beneath Gale Storm's radiant smile, the pressures of fame and family weighed heavily. Her demanding schedule, juggling filming, recording sessions, and public appearances, left little room for rest. Alongside her career, she faced the challenge of raising 4 children while maintaining the flawless image expected of female stars in the 1950s. The era demanded that women endure hardship quietly and present themselves with constant cheer and composure. For Gale, whose public persona was defined by warmth and grace, revealing any struggle seemed impossible. Like many actresses of her time, she turned to alcohol as a way to cope. In her memoir, Gale revealed that what began as occasional drinking after work gradually developed into a serious addiction. Despite this, she maintained the cheerful presence her fans adored on screen. Her marriage to Lee Bonnell began like a fairy tale, a young couple rising together in show business, but the relentless pressures soon strained their relationship. Ultimately, Gale stepped back from her intensive recording career, influenced by Lee's concerns over the time it demanded. This shift sparked tensions, especially as Gale's rising fame soon overshadowed Lee's sporadic acting and later business pursuits. She became the family's primary earner and beloved star while Lee remained largely in her shadow. As Gale's anxiety and depression deepened, Alcohol became both refuge and prison. Lee sought help for her, turning to doctors and specialists, but addiction carried a heavy stigma in the 1960s. For women and mothers, admitting such struggles was nearly impossible, and mental health remained a taboo with limited treatments available. Her problem grew in silence. Drinking became harder to conceal, and she withdrew from friends and industry contacts. Invitations to TV specials, guest roles, and variety shows faded away. The professional circle that once embraced her slowly closed its doors. The 1960s ushered in a new cultural era. Post-war optimism gave way to social upheaval and demands for more complex, realistic storytelling. The lighthearted sitcoms of the past felt outdated. Gale's wholesome image no longer fit the times. Her show ended in 1960, and though she made occasional guest appearances, meaningful roles grew scarce. Unlike contemporaries like Lucille Ball, who adapted and thrived, Gale struggled to reinvent herself. As her career waned, her battles intensified. By 1961, Gale had largely vanished from the public eye. Rumors circulated about retirement, focusing on family, or embracing faith. But the reality was more complicated. Her career did not end due to a lack of talent. It ended because the industry changed and she lacked the support to keep pace. She made a brief comeback with a guest appearance on Burke's Law in 1963, but by then her star had quietly faded. For over 20 years, the name Gale Storm had stood for the singer, actress, and radiant smile cherished by millions. Yet away from the spotlight, she reverted to Josephine, the woman who had long been hidden behind the characters she portrayed. But the loss of her career would soon prove to be the smallest of the challenges she would face. What happened to Gale Storm next? In 1969, Gale Storm took a bold and uncommon step for a celebrity of her era by admitting herself to the UCLA Neuropsychiatric Institute for Alcohol Rehabilitation. To shield her privacy and avoid public scrutiny, she checked in under a false name, deeply concerned about the stigma and judgment that could follow. The recovery process was harsh. Withdrawal brought severe physical and emotional pain, and confronting life without alcohol was an even greater challenge. Yet with therapy, group support, and her faith, she began the slow journey of rebuilding her life. During this time, Gale started keeping a journal, honestly facing her struggles for the first time. This new, unfiltered voice revealed a side of her that had never been scripted or shown to the public. Emerging sober and resolute, she faced a difficult road toward acceptance both personally and publicly. In the early 1970s, Gale dedicated herself to raising awareness about alcoholism. She spoke openly at churches, schools, and support groups, using her experience to help others, especially women, break the silence surrounding addiction. Rather than promoting her entertainment career, she chose to shine a light on a hidden, painful struggle. Her public confessions shocked fans who only knew the cheerful, wholesome image she projected on My Little Margie and the Gale Storm Show. But beneath the bright facade, the pressures of show business and personal anxieties had led her to self-medicate. In 1981, Gale published her autobiography, I Ain't Down Yet, which detailed her battle with alcohol in candid and unflinching terms. The book was praised for its bravery and honesty, offering readers a rare glimpse into the private hardships she endured away from the spotlight. She returned not just as a star, but as a survivor. Her openness helped shift public attitudes toward addiction and inspired other figures such as Betty Ford to share their own stories. In many ways, Gale was ahead of her time, transforming personal pain into public advocacy. She became involved with a church community near South Shores, crediting her faith with helping her regain stability and sobriety. Just as she was beginning to rebuild her life, what happened to Gale was not what anyone would have guessed. In 1986, her husband of over 40 years and father of her 4 children passed away. 2 years later, she found love again and married Paul Masterson. Yet life dealt another harsh blow when she became a widow once more in 1996, a decade after her first husband's passing. Throughout the 1980s and early 1990s, rumors of a comeback surrounded Gale. She appeared on nostalgic television specials, guest starred on The Love Boat, and reunited with former colleagues for interviews and retrospectives. However, Hollywood's harsh treatment of aging actresses limited her opportunities, as producers preferred to remember her legacy rather than cast her in new roles. In her later years, Gale lived alone in Monarch Beach, California, close to 2 of her sons and their families. Declining health eventually required her to move to a convalescent home in Danville, California. There, on June 27, 2009, She passed away at the age of 87. Her ashes were entrusted to her family, closing the final chapter of a life that had reached Hollywood's heights while never losing touch with her Texas roots. Gale Storm left behind a lasting legacy marked by 3 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, honoring her contributions to radio, recording, and television. Located at 6119 Hollywood Boulevard, 1519 Vine Street, and 1680 Vine Street, these rare honors reflect how she masterfully bridged multiple facets of show business throughout her remarkable career. After Gale Storm's death, her legacy remained untouchable. She is immortalized with 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, one for television and one for recording, a rare dual honor reflecting her unmatched versatility. In the golden age of television, she brought charm, warmth, and laughter into living rooms across America. While her hit songs topped charts and crossed generations, her openness about overcoming alcoholism inspired many, cementing her as both a beloved entertainer and a symbol of resilience. Decades later, her name still shines, timeless and enduring. So, thanks for watching this video, and we will see you in the next.